So in this video, I'm going to be explaining how I made this food web game in GameSalad. And if this video is successful, then I'll make similar videos for my other games. So you start out, you have these food things. So I just said every 0.2 seconds, change the food. Oh yeah, I can show you my attributes I got. I just created attributes for all the different things, corn, grasshoppers, frogs, all the different things in the ecosystem. And then I also created these things called green dots 1 through 5 and yellow dots 1 through 5, which I'll be talking about later. Oops. And then, for example, with the grasshopper, I just said, so to start, it eats corn. So it says every 1 second, change the amount of corn to the amount of corn minus the amount of grasshoppers. It eats them. And then if the corn is greater than the amount of grasshoppers, then every second change the amount of grasshoppers to the amount of grasshoppers plus 1. Then if grasshopper is greater than corn, then it dies off. And I've basically done the same thing if you take a look at, for example, rats. Now, the higher up the food chain you get, the slower the process happens. So here it's every 3 seconds, change grasshoppers to grasshoppers minus rats. Grasshoppers are greater than rats. Every 3 seconds, grow a new rat. And if the rats are greater than grasshoppers, then every 1 second a rat dies, because I wanted them to die off fairly fast, if that's what happens. Then if you go farther up the food chain to the snake, then again you have eat every 6 seconds, change rats and frogs to rats and frogs minus the amount of snakes. And it's 6 seconds because it's 2 things it's eating. So yeah, and basically I just did that, and I created a network of them using the same principles, and you end up with this. So it really didn't take that long. I also added this, which is just a way to mess with the things. I guess I can show you how that works. I'll probably end up creating these for all of them. But it's just when it's pressed, change game corn to game corn plus 1. And I might end up creating an, like you could click here plus 1. You could change it to like plus 5, for example. Or something like that. But what you might have noticed that's really interesting that I said I would talk about later is right here. And this took me a while to get working. But basically what it does is it graphs corn and grasshoppers. So you can see what's going on with the corn and the grasshoppers. And it only graphs the past 10 seconds because it checks every 2 seconds and then only displays the past 5 readings. But, it creates an interesting graph. So I can show you how I did that. And that's what these variables were. So have 5 different variables, attributes to control each of them. And then we can take a look at the graph maker over here. And every 2 seconds, each higher dot changes to the lower dot. So dot 5 changes to dot 1. So it starts out, dot 1 turns to the current amount of grasshoppers. But then you go back, so then next 2 seconds it'll turn into that, and then it'll slowly go back. As we can see if we watch. We can see, so this is dot 5, and then it goes over, and here's dot 1. So we can see that's what happens, and then 2 seconds later it becomes dot 2, so you can see the same relationship goes back, and that's how the graphing works. And every time the new thing becomes, yeah. So, and then same thing exists with the yellow, and then I tell it to spawn the dots in different places. It's just the amount times 10, because it's the amount of whatever exists times 10. And then I just told it to display the numbers font size 10, because it'll be every 10 things. Then that'll tell you the amount of whatever is going on. You got, alright, load. Come on, GameSalad, load. Alright, well, it looks like it doesn't want to load, but you get the general idea. This is how I made a food web in GameSalad. A nice thing from my science class. Thought it was pretty interesting. Thought I'd make a game about it. And now you can too. If you have any ideas or suggestions or anything, leave them in the